Now, the live hearings to assess the four candidates vying to become the next UN Secretary General wrap up this Wednesday. Chile's Michelle Bachelet, Argentina's Rafael Grossi, Costa Rica's Rebecca Greenspan, and Senegal's Macky Sall are all competing for a 5-year term at the helm of the troubled 193-member body, although more candidates are able to throw their hat into the ring in the coming months, if indeed they want to. Well, for more on those hearings and the challenges the UN is currently facing, I can bring in Alexandra Novosseloff, a researcher in international relations at the University of Paris 2. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on France 24 today. Now, there are four candidates, as it currently stands, in the running to succeed Antonio Guterres. Let's start, if it's okay with you, with Macky Sall. He was president of Senegal for 12 years until 2024. What's his pitch here?
Sorry, I didn't hear you well, but...
Sorry, Macky Sall, the former Senegalese president. What's his pitch here for replacing Antonio Guterres?
Well, I think Macky Sall doesn't have the support of his own country, nor of the African Union, so he has very low chances to reach to the final stage, so to speak. And he has already said that he would not attend the stake out after his hearing, which is not a good sign in terms of, trying to engage with a broader audience. So we'll see. We'll see how he's going, but he may not be the favorite.
And what then do you think he's hoping to achieve by throwing his hat into the ring here? What does he propose for this role?
Well, I have no clue on what he wants to achieve. I think the position of SG Secretary General of the UN is a very high profile position, but it is also a very tiring position and a very complex to hold, because you have to do with a lot of different interests and a lot of member states, the 193 member states of the UN. So it's very difficult. It's not an easy job. People say it's the impossible job.
And indeed, fewer people are in the running for this job at this point than they were 5 years ago. A question about Michelle Bachelet. She is facing, her candidacy is facing significant opposition, especially in the US. Can you take us through why that is?
I don't think it's no secret that the US would favor at this stage, at this point, Rafael Grossi. Michelle Bachelet has been quite vocal on human rights, and that doesn't please a number of permanent members of the council. She is also of the generation of Antonio Guterres, and there's a need for real change in the UN. So again, it's the first round of hearings. It's the beginning of the race, and so we'll see where it goes.
Now, you mentioned them briefly just there. The other two candidates, Rafael Grossi, also Rebecca Greenspan, are both from South America. 3 then of the 4 current candidates are from Latin America. What can we read into this? Why is there such overrepresentation from South America?
Well, it's the turn of the Latin American continent. They haven't had an SG since Javier Pérez de Cuellar in the late 80s, 1980s. So it's the turn of the Latin American. Of course, last round was supposed to be the turn of the European, of the Eastern Europeans. But Antonio Guterres at the time was too good in the hearings to be not to be elected in a way. So that's the turn of the Latin Americans, and if they have good candidates, there's no reason why they shouldn't have one of their candidates be elected.
Could you tell us a little more about the nomination process, and also how likely are the 5 permanent members of the Security Council to nominate someone, for example, like Macky Sall, whose pitch is rooted in changing the power structures at the UN?
So as you know, the candidates, they are just individuals that have to have the support of one member state, preferably their own member state, and they can't be from the permanent 5, because you need to have a secretary general that is impartial, the most impartial as it can be, as he or she can be. So that's the rule. And there are 4 candidates at the moment, but there are a few others that would like to run, but they're waiting for the approval of their member state.
I'd like to just zoom out a little bit now. The United Nations was, of course, built post-World War II to avoid the very sorts of conflicts we're seeing in Sudan, Ukraine, Gaza. Is the organisation still fit for purpose? Can it really affect change?
Yeah, it is. Well, first of all, the organization is the reflection of the world. It's a organization of member states. So it is not, you can't see the UN as a different actor as member state. It is made of member states. So of course, the division between member states happens in all its principal organs, and in particular in the Security Council. I do think that it's still fit for purpose if member states want it to be. And there's always, it comes and goes, and there's when there's a need, the UN will be there, because so far no member state has asked to leave the organization, and it was the case for the League of Nations, before World War II. So far, the permanent 5 are still engaged. They are divided, of course, and that has to be managed. And the next SG will have to manage that relationship, and will have also to make the case for the UN to be present in solving the conflicts. But the conflicts cannot be solved by the UN itself. The conflicts are solved by the parties to the conflicts first and foremost.
Alexandra Novosseloff, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Alexandra Novosseloff, researcher in international relations at the University of Paris 2. Thank you very much.